Hello everybody, here we are again. I am Leonora Elese, English teacher. Today we are going to talk about another grammatical item that is passive. First of all, we must know how do we form passive and why do we use passive. Before starting with the rules of forming passive, I want to say that we use passive in all cases when we are not interested about the person who does the action, but we are interested about the action itself. For example, if we say, yesterday I broke a glass, and yesterday a glass was broken. When we say yesterday I broke a glass, means that it was me who broke the glass. And perhaps you are interested about the person who broke the glass. While if I say yesterday a glass was broken, means that we are interested about the action itself and not the person who broke the glass. Now, let us begin with all the rules of passive. So, before starting with the rules, I want to say that we can form passive in all the tenses except present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous. In these two tenses, we can't form passive. Another thing that we must bear in mind is that we form passive when we have an object in a sentence. We can't form passive, for example, in the sentence, I'm going to school. So, let me introduce to you some simple rules of forming passive. The first one is, we have a look at the sentence and we see if the sentence has an object. The second, the object of active sentence becomes the subject of passive. The third, we take the verb to be, that is not there in the sentence, but it's here in my hand, and put it in that tense that is the verb in active. Then we add the past participle of the verb. And in the end, we add the doer or the agent of the action. Now, here we have a table of all the tenses that are given by examples and the way they are transformed into passive. Present simple. Lynn writes music. Music is written by Lynn. Present continuous. Lynn is writing music. Music is being written by Lynn. Past simple. Lynn wrote music. Music was written by Lynn. Past continuous. Lynn was writing music. Music was being written by Lynn. Present perfect simple. Lynn has written music. Music has been written by Lynn. Past perfect simple. Lynn had written music. Music had been written by Lynn. Future simple. Lynn will write music. Music will be written by Lynn. Infinitive. Lynn has to write music. Music has to be written by Lynn. Modal verbs. Lynn can write music. Music can be written by Lynn. We said at the beginning that we use passive when we are not interested about the person who is doing the action, but only about the action itself. We use passive again when we are sure that the person who is doing the action is more important is not important as the action itself. We use passive again when we want to avoid taking responsibility for an action or when we refer to an unpleasant event and we do not want to say who or what is to be blamed. Coffee was spilled on my keyboard while I was on a break. So no one takes the responsibility of spilling the coffee. We use the passive to emphasize the agent sometimes. For example, Jean David's work has been praised by top critics. So, in this case, we are interested about the agent, not like other roles that we were not interested at all. We use the passive to make statements more formal or polite. For example, a wine glass was broken at my party. Sometime I told you that the sentence must have an object in order to be transformed into passive. But sometimes the sentences have two objects. In this case, we have two forms of passive. For example, I was given a signed book by the author Stephanie Meyers. A signed book was given to me by the author Stephanie Meyers. So there are two objects and there are two forms of passive. In passive questions with who, whom, or which, we do not omit by at the end of the sentence. For example, who will direct the new film? Who will the new film be directed by? This is passive. The verbs here, help, see, and make, are followed by a bare infinitive in the active, but a to infinitive in the passive. For example, the owner of the house made the teenagers clean the graffiti they had sprayed. The teenagers were made to clean the graffiti they had sprayed by the owner of the house. Now, let us pass to some exercises. The first one is some sentences given in active, and we are going to find their corresponding form in passive. For example, they hold the competition every year. The competition is held every year. It's present simple. Monet developed the Impressionist art style. The Impressionist art style was developed by Monet. Present continuous. Our teacher is organizing an art exhibition. An art exhibition is being organized by our teacher. Future. They will open the new gallery tomorrow. The new gallery will be open tomorrow. Models. We can see the thinker in Paris. The thinker can be seen in Paris. Here we have to distinguish between with or by. With plus instrument, material, ingredient. For example, the portrait was painted with oils. By is followed by agent. The portrait was painted by a professional. For example, the handbag was made with leather. The new gallery will be opened by the mayor. The sculpture was made with fresh fruit. The hall is decorated with paintings. The Statue of Liberty was sculpted by Bartholdi. Now we have some sentences in active and we're going to transform them into passive. The first one, Harry will write the music for the school play. The music for the school play will be written by Harry. The director offered Tom the lead role in the film. Tom was offered the lead role in the film. The box office is selling tickets for the concert now. Tickets for the concert are being sold now at the box office. Our school puts on a play at the end of term. A play is put on at the end of term by our school. Another, Charlotte Brontë wrote Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre was written by Charlotte Brontë. People will always remember Walt Disney for his amazing creativity. Walt Disney will always be remembered for his amazing creativity. More than 50 million people around the world have seen the musical Cats. The musical Cats has been seen by more than 50 million people around the world. Tourists can see sculptures by Antoni Gaudí in Barcelona. Sculptures by Antoni Gaudí can be seen in Barcelona. If we have a look at all this exercise, we can see that we have to do with different tenses. The first one is simple future. Number 3 is the verb offer, that is in past simple. Number 4 is present continuous. Number 5 is present simple. Number 6 is past simple. Number 7 is future simple. Number 8 is present perfect. And number 9 is the modal verb can. Now, as you see, this was passive. And perhaps now you learned or you got used to all the rules of forming passive. And if you need to use passive or active in a special situation, then you'll be ready to choose, because now you know all the rules and the mechanisms that can transform a sentence from active into passive. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.